It is our undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime.
Police report as many as 75% of the people they've arrested in Midtown Manhattan for assault, robbery, and domestic violence are illegal migrants.
Police have tracked down a killer whose crimes span the country. Rachel Marin was dragged from a hiking trail in Maryland where she was murdered.
Police say Brandon Ortiz Vite used a handgun he bought illegally to shoot Ruby Garcia multiple times on Friday.
The prime suspect charged in Laken Riley's murder was 26-year-old Jose Antonio Ibarra. He illegally entered the United States back in 2022.
A Texas grand jury indicted Rafael Govea Romero. He's accused of attacking 16-year-old Lisbeth Medina by repeatedly hitting her head and stabbing her.
So let's get our notions together about what we're talking about.
Makes no sense. Now, somebody tell me if you can watch this and in good faith say that you want 4 more years of Kamala Harris. Really. And I dislike how people are trying to divide or distance Biden and Harris, right? As if they're not working together or hadn't worked together. As if she wasn't the deciding factor on certain rules and laws being set in place. People try to roll back on these things, but we seeing what's going on in our country. And for whatever reason, we're the ones that are being called crazy and, all of these racist terms because we want what's best for our country. Okay, look, I believe in the American dream. I believe that people should or could have the opportunity to come here and be able to live out, see success in their life if they're fleeing oppression or any sort of whatever. For whatever reason, not even doing that, just want to come here and have a fulfilled life. But there's a process. Are there issues with that process? I'm not going to sit and say there's not. But it's a process, and all we're saying is we want people to come in through the correct process. I don't know how that is somehow being controversial. Somebody says horrible, and she laughed. She needs to be put on trial for manslaughter for everyone who has assaulted and unalived, who has been assaulted and unalived by illegal migrants. The blood is on her hands. No one is above the law, especially when she's the border czar and hasn't even been there. And so, what does that mean? I haven't been in such and such and such and such. What are we talking about? Is her response when she was told she hadn't been there. Somebody says every country invaded by illegal immigrants is in danger. Stop it. Close the borders. In Europe, we endure the same fate as we are invaded by Islamic radicals and Africans. Leftist politicians won't protect us. None of us. Yeah, man. Somebody says can't have that for 4 more years. Somebody else wrote. So yeah, we talked to a NC voter. Quote, the cost of everything I've had. I'm sorry, let me start over. The cost of everything. I have had people in line in front of me in the grocery store putting stuff back. That's not the American way. Yeah, let's go and check this out.
Tell me, what do you feel like is the most pressing issue for Americans?
The economy.
The economy?
Yes. The cost of groceries, the cost of everything. Food. I have had people in line in front of me at a grocery store putting stuff back, and it breaks my heart. That's not the American way.
Things were different under Donald Trump.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you so much, love. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yes, ma'am.
It's #1 in my book.
He's #1.
First of all, let me apologize because I did a horrible job of segueing into this clip. I was trying to not paint the picture, but set the tone by saying this is the type of country that we're living in. Obviously, we're being invaded. And in addition to that, we're being sucked dry as Americans. We want 4 more years of this. This is how I meant to segue into it. But you see what the American voters are speaking, man, from North Carolina. Yeah, we all feel the same sentiment. This is not the American way for people to be making more money, double, triple in some cases what they're used to in terms of revenue, but their overhead costs exceed that. People are working 2-3 jobs and still can't find any overhead, any room for being able to spend for themselves and do for themselves. People could actually afford to put groceries on the table when Donald Trump was the president. That's all I'm saying. What else do we have here? It says, except for the invited invaders, we all feel the squeeze for sure. Yeah, it's not the American way. The problem is too many stupid people are allowed to go vote. Kamala's voting base just want free money and abortions. That's what happens when your president calls a global pandemic fake that'll disappear. It's too bad more Americans can't understand this simple error. Yeah, man, somebody else said things were different under Trump. Sure. Sure were. Those grocery store shelves were empty and toilet paper was a commodity. For sure, man. It's just somewhere down the line, they ain't went whoop. You know what I mean? But right here we have Colin York. This is another reason why 4 more years of Kamala Harris will be terrifying. She's trying her best to eradicate free speech. Seriously. She's trying to label everything as misinformation that doesn't come from the DOJ. It says Harris vows to have DOJ censor misinformation. And Colin York wrote, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. This is not okay. Let's be clear. This is thinly veiled. This is a thinly veiled threat against Elon Musk and Twitter. Let's check it out.
Y'all think this is okay?
We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism. We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
Like, I can't be the only one who thinks this is not okay. Like, it's the First Amendment. And no politician, I don't care who you're voting for, whether it's Kamala, Trump, or that one weird guy who was babbling about on stage. We don't even know where he is now. We don't even know if he's still the president. I don't care who you support. But no one should be okay with a politician saying they're going to restrict your First Amendment right on social media platforms. I don't give a about mouth-breathing racists spewing hateful bull online. It's the First Amendment. And for the people who are like, oh, no, it's a private platform and your First Amendment doesn't account. Shut the up. Yes, it does. Because this is a government telling a private company to censor people's First Amendment right on their platform. That is the same thing. What the is going on in this country?
And this, my friends, is why I had to take a vacation last week. Even though you see me uploading, if you really watch the videos, I was there, but I wasn't there. Meaning, like, you know, I was just kind of making sure I provided enough content to make sure my audience was satisfied. But I was like, man, I'm on vacation. I ain't gonna be up in here looking at, cause this is how it becomes out the wild. You know, you wake up every day, and I'm prepared for it. I'm mentally built for it. You know, this is my career choice. So, you know, I wake up every single day, man, and it's just like I'm looking at stuff like this, and I'm going, people. What? So that's why you do need that unplug sometimes, bro. You need to unplug. This is not okay. She's literally saying that she wants to censor your First Amendment right. Free speech. You know, I remember being in Chicago, and shout out to my bro. I'm not going to say no names and nothing like that. But, you know, we was having this conversation, and we had a point where we disagreed. But we disagreed for kind of the same conclusion. It's just the I guess the ideologies was different. So he goes, what are your thoughts on free speech? I'm like, yeah, I believe in free speech. I just believe you better be ready for the consequences of whatever you say. You know, and he goes, well, you know, I don't believe in free speech. You know, and he pretty much insinuated, yeah, you better, I'm gonna knock you out if you say the wrong thing. Woo, woo, woo. And I realized, okay, we pretty much kind of saying the same thing. What are you barking for? My dog is just going crazy. Riley. What was I lost my train of thought. Anyhow, he going, you know, he don't believe in free speech or whatever, and I'm going, you know, I don't believe in restricting anybody, and I don't think we really expanded beyond that after we made the point. 'Cause, you know, homies, I ain't trying to be out there trying to do nothing like that, but this is where we at. Now, again, we ended up believing the same thing almost, but he genuinely believes that free speech should be regulated. At least that's what I got from it. At least that's what I'm insinuating from that. And that's not okay, guys. That's not okay. Somebody says the Harris attempt at censorship is much more than a threat against Elon and X. It's the first steps towards the destruction of the First Amendment. For sure. To see the next steps, look at the countries that are most like us. England could be jailed for speaking against the government or offending someone. You can only protest when and where they let you. Canada and Australia, compelled speech. And it's a lot deeper than that. Harris is showing her true colors, and she'd make Lenin proud. Never in history of the world did the good guys censor free speech. And that's the thing, man. I'm afraid of anybody trying to tell me I can't say what's on my mind. You know, that should scare you, man. Somebody says the only way she's gonna win is if they cheat. She's a tyrant, and she'll rule as a tyrant. This is why I don't want her talking in front of a camera. It's not that she can't communicate, it's the message she communicates.